YouTube, welcome back. Forbidden SplitHard. This one sounds familiar because, Forbidden Tryhard. But the reason I'm naming it this way is because it's actually slightly different. It is another version of Tryhard, I will admit that, but there is a key differences that I need to explain so that you can tell the difference between the two. And I can't label it as Tryhard because there are too many differences to try to say it's the same thing. So I have to separate just so slightly. It is a subversion, yes, but it's not exactly the same, which is why I have to do this video to make sure that you can tell the difference between the two. Now, what would you use this against? In terms of the champions you'd be facing with this playstyle, I'm talking champions that don't look like team fighting is gonna happen, right? More of the ranged matchups and stuff like that, where they're just running away and stuff like that, and they're not really into that team fighting type of playstyle. That's when you'd want to pull that out. And overall, but in terms of like tanks and stuff like that, I don't think it would be a good idea. But the thing is, I don't really face tanks that often because people don't really want to play tanks. They just want to play high ADHD champions that move fast and do a lot of damage. So this is still useful for those kind of games. But without further ado, let's go into the rune page and explain that. Alright, so we have the rune page right here, and you're already looking at it funny because there's no triumph, right? Yeah, the thing is, you're already not going to be team fighting all that often, and it's not going to be that important to you in team to be team fighting like that. So we're not going to be touching triumph in this playstyle. Instead, let's go over this aftershock. The reason I take aftershock over grasp is because a lot of these champions are probably not going to be able to proc grasp that many times. Plus, I think aftershock is better overall, especially with the damage reduction because of all the resistances you're getting. Demolish is good because we're doing a lot of like split pushing and we're trying to get those towers and stuff. But this is really powerful. Pair it with things like Hull Breaker and Trinity Force with Sterix Gauge. Sheen proc is going to be good. And at Demolish, you're going to be blowing up towers. That's really good. Second Wind. You're usually in a lane where it really sucks and they just poke you out or just chunk you and stuff like that. You're going to need Doran Shield and Second Wind to make that HP back. Plus, you're in lane by yourself and the enemy jungler is going to want to kill you. You're going to want these two things to make sure that you're as healthy as possible. That's why I take Second Wind. Unflinching. The less you are under CC, the better. I can say the same for Legend Tenacity. Those are two of the same thing. Last Stand. Even though it doesn't seem as if you have any damage on your runes, you will have damage in terms of your items, and in terms of having this or triumph, I'd rather have Last Stand in this playstyle because we're not even going to be doing that much resetting. It's just the way it is. And we got attack speed. This one's been over many times, but the attack speed here is better than the 5 AD. If you want 5 AD, just get the 5 AD under here, and then you get your armor or magic resist depending on what you're facing, and that is your rune page. Anything can be altered? I don't think so. I don't even want bone plating. I definitely don't want conditioning because this is to do with the early game and stuff like that. You don't want to be dying early game because you didn't have a rune that would help you to survive. So it's really important to have that. But now we need to go into the item build because there's a specific order that you have to build your items in. Okay, so here we are. The full build is here. That's what it's going to look like. It looks very similar to Forbidden Tryhard, right? It's just instead of Stone Plate, you have Hull Breaker. Yes, but the order in which you build it will not be that similar. Because first thing you buy is you're going to buy your boots. Depending on who you're facing, you'll get your Force of Nature or Warden's Mail. But even then, you're going to get Winged Moon Plate. This is an early item you're buying anyway. You're gonna buy that, and you're not gonna finish Force of Nature first, regardless, right? You're not finishing first unless you're facing an AP champion. Then you do finish Force of Nature first. But point is, you get this component. If you're facing an AD champion, you finish this one as well. If you're not, you go into Winged Moonplate, and you might even finish Force of Nature first. But the thing is, Hullbreaker is finished first or second. That's what happens. Hullbreaker is finished first or second, preferably first, because by the time you finish it, you should be around level 12, because of you're delaying the item because of these small components, which are still important, by the way. You should have Hullbreaker by level 12. Level 12, it starts racking up in terms of resistances when you're by yourself. Now, the reason you can't get it outright first is because the resistances it gives you is 10 until like level 11, and that is pointless to have. So we have to delay it with small components like this, Winged Moonplate, maybe a bit of magic resist. Then you go into a Hullbreaker and stuff like that. And then after you finish those two items, right? Then you're looking for Sterak's Gauge, and then Trinity Force, and then you're gonna finish the build off with Randuin's Omen. And if you did the math, yes, that ends up being the same build. It's just the order that you buy in. Now, why do I do this? Because let's say level, I don't know, level 13, you're looking at a build that looks like, or even level 14. If you're playing correctly, your build will look somewhat like this. Level 14 or 15, your build is going to look somewhat like this. You are tanky in terms of the physical damage. You're tanky in terms of the magic damage. You're even more tanky because you're by yourself because of Hullbreaker. You still have 50 AD coming from this, and a bit more than that coming from Sterak's Gauge. If they try to burst you, Sterak's is going to proc. This is good for a solo kind of play style. And that's and knowing how the environment of my matches are, this is very good. Now, explaining it is one thing, but showing how the game works and how the game even goes down like that is gonna be a different thing, and that's what I'm gonna do with my next post-game commentary. One more thing I need to add on is you will be taking TP and Ghost. The reason Ghost doesn't need an explanation. When you play Darius, this is the most important spell in the game for you. I don't care what anyone says about Flash. Ghost is the most important thing for you when playing Darius. Teleport. The reason I opt into Teleport instead of Flash is because Teleport. First things first. I can deal with not having Flash, but not with Ghost. I need Ghost. That's the more important part. The reason I don't want Flash is because Flash is more for those flashy plays where you're trying to team fight and stuff like that. I'm more for trying to get TP and get back into lane, get that EXP going up, and maybe even split push somewhere in the bot lane. If they pushed up the wave and the enemy ignores the tower there, I just sneak in and I take that. It gives opportunities for backdoors. There's an endless amount of, okay, not endless, but there's just so much you can still do with Teleport, and that's why I take it in this specific playstyle. So that's the last thing I want to add. And other than that, that will be the final playstyle that I'm talking about for this season, I think, because other than this, Forbidden Velocity and Forbidden Combatant, I think we're done. We got the 3 playstyles we need for this season, and there we go. Is Forbidden Tryhard like redundant? No, I think you could still use it. It's just I have a different reason for going Trinity Force now than I did back then. So that's why I needed to do this. But you'll see in the overview of the match. You'll see. Anyways, other than that, thank you for watching. Do the YouTube usuals, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and watch more videos. Anyways, that's it from me. All my links are down in the description below. Check my Twitch. And yeah, have a nice day. Peace late.
nothing but death.